All right, shalom, shalom. I'm going to start off this video by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, ahchyam, Yahweh Shai, ahchyam, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the bishops, a great millstone that rule well, that teach well, while I learn this truth 100% according to the Bible. And I also want to say shalom to the elect, the 144,000 men, prophets, servants scattered abroad, the four corners of the earth. And shalom to the ahchyam, which are the sisters that are sincere, and your children, shalom. And in today's video, as you can see, another video going into judgment, basically how evil the days are out here that we're in. So, we're going to get into this video that I seen that happened 2 days ago, and I'm going to basically link it up with a few scriptures and basically prove to you, brothers and sisters, just how evil the times are that we are in out here, right? So I'm going to read the title. It says, "A family devastated after expectant mother and fiance are," you see that, are after they're basically deleted, man, So we're going to start this video. And when I start this video, I want to say that this is under the 1976 Copyright Act, that I'm not getting paid for this video. This is only for educational purposes only. So with that being said, fair use under the 1976 Copyright Act.
Is left with a growing list of questions and no closure. I don't understand how a so-called friend and someone that might...
All right. You hear what she's saying? I guess, as they say, this is the woman's or the guy's mother who basically who was deleted in this case. And she said they was deleted by a friend. But, the Lord says you must try a person out before they're your friend, man. Or ultimately what it said, to test a friend. You can't just call a person a friend, man. You got to test that person to see if they're your friend, because a friend, if they're your friend, they'll truly show you in their actions that they're your friend. They wouldn't, you can't just say a person your friend because y'all talk on the phone and do things of that nature. But that's ultimately how easy these people are and how simple Jake is, that they believe that just because a person agrees with you on a few things and you talk to a person and make conversation with them, that they're your friend, man. And the Lord said you're supposed to try people that are your friends. So I'm going to get that precept. And I believe it's in the Apocrypha, if I'm not mistaken, so bear with me. So bear with me. And it says, this is Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, 6 and 7. "If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him," right? So these people was hasty to credit that person, man, thinking this person was their friend, believed that they had good intentions for him and things of that nature. And look what happened, So this is why we ultimately must prove people that are in our lives that say they care about us, man. You got to show with your actions that you care about someone. You can't just say it, because, a lot of people, they are easily led on by the words in which it is that people say. But they don't understand that we're living in a time full of great evil, and people are saying all types of things to try to get close to you, to ultimately do something to harm you. So this is why the Lord says in the book of, let me get that, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 16, and it says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly," man. And that word circumspectly goes into, I'm going to get the definition of it, being circumspect, right? All right. That word circumspect means to live wisely, cautiously, and with discernment, avoiding foolishness and making the most of your time, recognizing the importance of a life that honors Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. So ultimately, that's what we should be doing in these times, especially knowing that we're living in times like never before, full of great evil and full of danger, as it tells you in the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1, that in the last days, perilous times shall come. And seeing that we know we're in the last days, right, which is the ending of Esau Edom's rulership, the more evils are going to increase upon this place. And that perilous word goes back into times full of danger and of risk. So, of course, you're not going to be able to trust people that are around you that you think are so-called friends, because these are going to be the same people that are going to be deleting each other, man. It tells you that in the book of Matthew chapter 10, 34, that the Lord come not to send peace on the earth, but a sword, roughly paraphrasing it. So the Lord is bringing division, man. All these people that thinking they're neighbors and cool and all of these different types of things, the Lord is bringing these people at variance against one another, which means to be at odds with one another, to where they don't agree. People are deleting each other over simple things, man. Food, money. You said this about me, simple things people are losing their life behind, man. And that's because we're living in some very evil times. But people that don't see it, They just walk around like nothing is happening. And the Lord said, a wise man, Proverbs 22:3, a wise or a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. And a lot of people don't see the times that we're living in because they're simple. They're not focusing and basing their lives upon the ways of the Lord, following after the Lord to know that we're living in dangerous times. They're thinking everything is just good. And that's ultimately why a lot of these people getting deleted, man, because they don't have no spiritual discernment, right? So I'm gonna go back into Ephesians 5:15. I'm gonna read it again from the top. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, right, but as wise. Verse 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil, man. And we living in some very evil times, man. Where you can't even trust so-called friends, you can't trust family members, you can't trust nobody, man, because we understand that it's not people that we're wrestling against, So I'm gonna get that book of Ephesians 6:12, proving that we're not wrestling against people, man. That's why, people might want to feel bad and be like, oh man, because they're carnal. They're thinking like from a carnal sense, like why you saying we can't be around our families and why we can't trust them? That's because they're not, as I've read early in Ephesians 5:15, these people lack discernment. So they don't understand the severity of the times that we're living in, that people are not being ran by what you think is being ran on the outside. They're being ran by something wicked that is inhabiting them, their spirit, man. And it doesn't matter if it's your family or your whoever the case, friend and things of that nature, man. People got spirits on them in these times that we're living in. That's why the Lord said the times are evil, man, because people have demons on them. And guess what? You could become a victim of something to this extent or something like this when you trust people, man, without, as I've read early in Ecclesiastes, by not trying them, proving that they're your friend before you just call this person your friend or before you just let this person be comfortable around you. You got to know who it is this person really is, man. And that's why it's important to have spiritual discernment and have a relationship with the Lord, because the Lord is going to tell you people that are around you if they're right or not. You're not just going to trust in your own understanding, right? And that goes back into what the Lord said. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man or a woman, but the end thereof are the ways of death, roughly paraphrasing. So a lot of these people die or are perishing, right? Because they trust in what they believe. They going off what they think. And this is why the Lord tells us is importantly in these times we're living in Proverbs 3:5. I'm going to get that, right? I'm going to come back to that Ephesians 6:12 as well, but I'm going to go to Proverbs 3:5. This is why it's important for us to trust in the Lord, man, and not trust in what we think. Because our ways, like I said, I believe that's Proverbs 19:12. Wait, let me get that precept. Bear with me, brother. Salakia. I believe it's this precept. I could be wrong. Or 14:12, but I'm going to see. Salakia. Is it 14:12? Right? This is Proverbs 14:12. And I'm going to read it in the NIV. It said, there is a way that appears to be right, right? Meaning leaning upon your own understanding, believing that a person around you that you rarely know is your friend just because they say hey or hi to you. That appears right in the mind of somebody that is simple, that doesn't have the discernment of the Lord. That's not walking after spiritual things. That seems right in their eyes because that's how easily people are persuaded, right? Because people are simple. It tells you in the book of I believe, what is that? The book of, Proverbs 1:22. It says, how long ye simple ones, right? Meaning you Negroes, Latinos, Native American men and women, how long ye simple ones will ye love simplicity? Going into basically how simple the Lord's people are, man. They fall for anything. They don't test people to know if these people are truly their friends. They just go off of how a person look, man. They go on the outer appearance. And that's mainly what these people judge a person off of, their outer appearance, how they look, how they talk, because these people are carnal, man. And that's ultimately, Salakia, going to lead to a lot of these people downfall and their death, right? So this is Proverbs 14:12 NIV. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end, it leads to death, man, right? And I'm going to get the NLT version. Proverbs 14:12 NLT. There is a path before each person that seems right, but it ends in them being deleted, man, right? And I'm going to get the KJV version as well. I might as well, But there, Proverbs 14:12 in the KJV, and it said, there is a way which seemeth right unto a man or a woman, but the end thereof are the ways of deletion, man. So, this is important. While I was going into that precept I was about to pull out, going into, let me get that. Bear with me, brothers. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 6. This is why it's important for us to trust in the Lord and not lean upon our own understanding, not leaning into the ways in which we think. Because I'm guaranteed if those people had that spiritual discernment, man, they probably would have not allowed that person to get close to them enough to do that, what they did, man. This is why we have to move with caution in these days. Going back into what I read again in Proverbs 22:3. A prudent man, meaning a man or a woman that is wise, foreseeth the evil, right? Which means they see the evil times that we're in. So they're walking around cautious. They're not walking around just trusting people, letting people around them. The men of the Lord is not just easily allowing people to come near them, man. Knowing that the times we're living in, right, Salakia, is evil, man. And that you can't trust people. People got spirits on them. People out here trying to do harm to you physically. You can't trust people, man, at all. And that goes for anybody. Because like I said again, and I'm going to get this precept, then I get back to Proverbs 3:5. But I'm going to get this where I left off at. And this is the reason we can't trust people, right? Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. And it says in the KJV, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, man, right? So though it may look like a regular man or a woman on the outer appearance, it's a spirit that's operating them, And then those spirits, you have people that have righteous spirits in them, which are the Lord's people that are walking after the ways of the Lord. And you have people that are carnal, that are in the world, that have legions and different varieties of spirits and demons on them, man. Right. And that is what's controlling these people. That's why they're ultimately doing these things that I'm talking about, deleting people. You thinking people your friend and they killing you. That's because these people have spirits on them, man. And this goes back to what I said earlier about this is why you must have discernment. Because if you don't, then guess what? You can fall victim to a situation like this by trusting people, man. We don't trust nobody but the Lord, man, and the men of the Lord. If a man ain't walking in the ways of the Lord, or a woman, don't trust them, man. And that's really the mindset we need to be in these times. Because ain't none of these, if they're not walking with the Lord, man, that's the Apostle Gabar said, or I believe it was Apostle Tahar. But he said if these people are not walking in alignment with the Lord, man, they're a potential agent. So they're a person that's potentially can be a person used to destroy you, man, if they're not walking in the ways of the Lord. So this is why you don't supposed to trust people, man. It says, I'm going to read it again from the top, Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? But against principalities. That word principalities goes into spirits on the left-hand side in the fourth dimension, which is the spiritual realm. We wrestle against demons, man, principalities, spiritual wickedness on the left-hand side. That's what we up against. We're not up against people. So when you understand these things, guess what? You know how to move and maneuver in life, man, because you know that you're not dealing with people, man. You're dealing with spirits that are on people, right? And it says against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Right. And we know that spiritual wickedness in high places goes to Esau, Edom as well, with the elites being the spiritual wickedness that's ruling this earth and not from a high place. But in this sense, I'm talking about the spiritual realm, the spiritual demon Satan and his principalities that are operating through these people, man. Right. Which ultimately is doing the bidding of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, because we know that the Lord controls both good and evil. He controls both sides. So this is ultimately the Lord's doing. But still, you brothers and sisters out here got to be circumspect, because these things could possibly happen to you if you're not walking around, observing your surroundings, man, and not paying attention to what time we're in. You can, and myself as well, this can happen to any of us if we're not out here being circumspect, walking wise, doing the things which the Lord requires of us, man. We could be a potential victim, man, for things just like this. And the crazy part about it, as I've said, you might never know who it's coming from. This came from a person who they thought was a friend. So how much more you people have people around you that you might think your friend, or think that you believe have your best interests, and they're plotting, or thinking malicious thoughts towards you, man. I mean, you never know, man. We living in some sick times, right? So this is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, NLT. For we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against rulers and authorities of the unseen world, right? The fourth dimension, the spiritual realm, against mighty powers in this dark world, and against evil spirits in the heavenly places, man. So that's ultimately what we're fighting against, And going back into what I read, this is why it's important for us to trust in the Lord, so that he can guide us, man, and direct our steps, and letting us know the things in which it is he wants us to do and what not to do. Because, if we trust in the Lord, and I'm going to get that precept, right? This is Proverbs chapter 3, and I'm going to start at verse 5. It said, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, meaning your lob, which in the Hebrew is the mind, right? your mind, and lean not unto thine own understanding, right? Because we already said what I read earlier in Proverbs 14 and 12. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man or a woman, but the end thereof are the ways of death. So you trusting in what you think is going to lead to you being deleted, man. That's why it's important that you allow the Lord to direct your steps. And it's going to go into that on verse 6. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths, man. Right? So you want the Lord to be directing your steps and directing your movements, directing where it is you go, who you deal with. You want to have that discernment, man. Because if not, guess what? Hey, it's going to be bad for you, man. Especially in these times we're coming into, these times of great evil. It's going to be bad for you, man. If you don't got discernment, if the Lord's not dealing with you, you're going to be through out here, right? So I'm going to get back into this video so we can, listen to it just a little bit more, man. But this is what's going on out here, brothers and sisters.
A so-called friend and someone that my daughter and her fiance helped could ever get it to a point where now you're killing them.
Desiree Johnson is furious. She arrived in Kansas City Tuesday after her daughter, Amina Johnson, who is a mother of two with one on the way, and Amina's fiance, Derek Rhodes, were shot and killed Monday evening near 98th and Marsh following a dispute with friends.
I don't know if pissed off is the word. This same young lady was supposed to be coming to Florida with my daughter.
Wow, and you heard what she just said, man. She said, and that's the point, man. They wasn't even deleted by a man, man. It was a female that did this, But hey, I'm going to get another precept, I'm going to get Matthew chapter 24, verse 12, man. These are the times we're living in, man. Those signs which the Lord gave us in the book of Matthew of how the people will behave in the end times, man. And, in the end times goes into the end of the Esau Edom's rulership, we know. But this is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12. And I'm going to read it in the KJV. And it said, and because iniquity, that word iniquity means sin upon sin, right? That's all you see people out here engaging in, indulging in. That's what their lives is based upon. Sin, being wicked, being demons, man. Walking not in the ways of the Lord, not walking in ways of righteousness, walking in ways of wickedness, walking in ways of trying to fulfill their own lust in their bellies, man. That's what the people are walking out there. That's sin, iniquity, right? So it says, shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's what we see in that word cold goes back into the Greek, which means psychos, which is a lot of these people are losing their damn minds. They're going crazy. And that's due to, like I said again, what I read in Ephesians 6 and 12, these spirits being on these people, because we know these are not people that we're dealing with, not flesh and blood people. These are spirits that are operating these people, right? That's having these people do all of these bugged out things, man. But, I'm going to go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, because they said that they were deleted by a woman, man, and this, they just go to show you, man, that these women out here, man, are, some serious, man. That's why you don't trust these women, brothers, because these women out here are wicked, man. I'm telling you, like if she's not your wife or she's not a woman that you've been knowing for years and you have tested her, you can prove that she's faithful to you, man, don't be dealing with these women, man. I'm telling you, because these women out here, a lot of them are, and she could have killed these people out of jealousy, because she, this was the girlfriend allegedly. So she probably could have, thought that the girl, a lot of people out here are envious, man. The Lord tells you that a lot of people will be like that in the last days too. 2 Timothy 3, it said how people will be covetous. And we're going to look up that word covetous, right? The word covetous goes into people being, bear with me. The word covetous goes into people being, right? The word covetousness goes into being envious, right, of what another has. And, she was probably seeing a young lady, got a house, got friends, got a husband and all of that stuff. And a lot of women that don't have those things, we know how women are. They see a woman that's doing good, that has everything that she desires to have, as well as with men. They see somebody having something that they desire to have. Then guess what? Eventually they take matters into their own hands, because that's what a lot of these people, the spirit they're coming in, man and women, covetousness, wanting what they see other people have, envying you for what you have, and these are the times we're living in, man, great evil. So the definition of that word covetous goes into an inordinate or excessive desire for something, especially wealth or possessions, often those that belong to someone else, right? So like I said, it's just uh Esau's word salad for, basically being envious. So it's just a person that's envious of what another has, you know. And these are the people, and these are the spirits that these people in the world are coming in, man and woman. If they're not walking after the ways of the Lord, then they have these demons on them, man. And you got to be aware of these people, man. You can't trust these people, right? So let me get another precept going into, I was going to get um yeah, I'm gonna get that this Ecclesiastic is also known as Sirach 25:19, and it said, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. So the Lord saying that, a woman can do almost anything, man. Trust me, one thing you don't want to have admiring you or around you, a man or a female, is a woman that's covetous, man, or a woman that's jealous, because there's no telling what she's bound to do, man. Because we know that all type of demons get on these women because they're being a weaker vessel, so they're most subjective to being under demonic attacks and getting spirits hopping on them and things of that nature, and for doing wicked things, man. That's why I'm gonna read this precept again. Ecclesiastes 25:19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Right. So I'm gonna go to another precept. Because these women out here, man, they're the main ones out here, getting a lot of these people deleted, man. Ultimately getting a lot of brothers deleted. I mean, these women, man, and people go out of their ways and get deleted all in the name of a woman, man. So, you brothers got to be circumspect out there. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 26, verse 25. And it said, a shameless woman, right, shall be counted as a dog. And that's a lot of these 2/3 women out here in Babylon, the Great America, man. They're shameless. They don't have no shame about what they do. They're covetousness, they're whores, they're wicked. They just do everything that's against the ways of the Lord. And they don't have no shame about it. They enjoy doing it. They love doing it, right? As it tells you in Jeremiah 4:22, for my people is sottish. They are wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge. And that's these men and women here in America, man. So it said, a shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear the Lord. So like I said, if they would have tested this girl out to see where her heart was, guess what? This possibly wouldn't have happened to them. But like I said, that goes back into these people lacking the discernment, man, to know the people that they're having around them, man. you know. But like I said, this is all I had to say in today's video. Lord's willing, it was edifying, to you brothers and sisters, just to letting you brothers and sisters know what time we're living in, man, that you can't trust anybody, not so-called friends, not so-called, whatever the case may be, man. You have to be wise in these times, right? So with that being said, I'm going to say shalom to the elect.